how to build every single champion type in Raid Shadow Legends. That's what we're going to be covering in this account takeover. So what is up, guys? This is Cobb, and welcome to Miss Karai's account. She's got a few too many level 40s and 50 champions on the account for my liking, but all in all, the roster is in a pretty decent place. Until you squint your eyes a little bit and look at the stat distribution on some of these champions, like the Doom Priest, for example, who doesn't need accuracy at all. For some reason, has like nearly 4k attack. Like, what is going on with this Doom Priest build? The attack percentage on the gauntlets is just out of control, man. An unhinged Doom Priest build right here. Also, make sure that you stick around to the end of the video, because Miss Karai has also gone ahead and picked out champions that she wants to get rid of on this account. So any champion on this account that does not have the this little padlock clicked, right, she's planning on using as food. So we're going to play a little mini game at the end where we go through all of the champions and see which champions she's planning on using as food to sort of get rid of. And yeah, that's definitely going to be a quite interesting way to sort of finish off the video, I think. First and foremost, though, the rebuilds. Real quick, a special shout out to an individual named Marcus, by the way, for getting Karai introduced to the videos on my channel. It's always humbling to hear that, you know, just word of mouth is bringing new viewers to the channel on occasion, and yeah, it's good stuff, man. Thank you, Marcus, for getting Karai invested in the videos. Let's start off with damage dealers in the form of Alice the Wanderer, just an out-and-out nuker. How do you want to be building a champ like this? Well, first and foremost, man, just to get the fundamentals down here, you gotta know what kind of damage dealer you are dealing with, right? So Alice, what makes her a nuker? Well, she's not focused on placing poisons or activating HP burns or anything like that. She just smacks people really hard, right? She's going to tackle enemies' skill. She's also got a single target hit on the A3 that ignores a little bit of the target's defense. She just wants to smack stuff. That's really all Alice needs in life to be happy. Except not really, because Alice also requires accuracy. How do you know if a champion requires accuracy in this game? It's if they have any negative effect at all on the enemy that's not damage, right? It could be decreasing the enemy turn meter, it could be placing debuffs against the enemy, or it could be like Alice having a chance of increasing the cooldowns of enemy skills by a couple of turns on her A2, right? All of those kinds of things that are negative effects on the enemy that are not damage are going to require accuracy. How much accuracy do you need? About 10 accuracy per dungeon stage that you are clearing, right? So stage 20 of dungeons, about 200 accuracy. Stage 10 of dungeons, you'll need about 100. Fundamental number 2 is that when you are building or rebuilding a champion on your account, you want to go ahead and go into the filter options right here, and then you want to go into the fitting room. Once you've enabled this, you can then go ahead and just kind of experiment with gear pieces and equip them just for fun on the champion without spending silver to then remove the item, right? And that way you can kind of plan out your builds, man. Super useful tool if you're not using that already. Now, when it comes to building out your damage dealers, your stats are going to look something like the following in order of priority, right? You're going to want to have 100% crit rate on your nukers. You're going to then want enough accuracy to land their negative effects if the champion needs accuracy. Not all of them do. Then you're going to want to focus on crit damage and as much crit damage as humanly possible on your nukers. That's going to be the best way to boost their damage. Then you can go into attack percentage, and then finally you can go into speed. Honestly, you can even sometimes go into speed ahead of attack percentage if you feel like your champ is just running a little bit slow, right? Even your nukers and your damage dealers, while it's fine for them to be the slowest champion on the team, you still want them running at a decent speed. And by a decent speed, I mean about 160 plus in the early game, and then once you're in like the mid and late game and stuff like that, I mean, anything lower than like 170, 175 speed is considered like very slow by that point in your account. And so what problems are we seeing here with the current Alice build, right? Her speed is actually pretty okay. Her crit rate is also pretty good. It's like almost bang on 100%. Not bad. The crit damage could be a little bit better. The accuracy is fine. Doesn't look too bad on the surface of things, right? However, a couple of issues here, man. One of them, we have a flat stat chestplate. Just giving flat HP, right? As a general rule, percentage stats are always going to be better than flat stats, especially as the primary stat, and you can get percentage stats on the gloves and on the chest, and then you can also roll into speed as the primary stat on your boots. And of course, boots are the only artifact type that can roll speed as a primary stat. So generally speaking, you want to be looking for speed as a primary stat on boots. But most important, I mean, you can get away with attack percentage on boots. That's like totally fine. As long as the champion's fast enough, then this is okay. But the flat stats on the chest piece, oi. That's a problem. That's something that we've got to fix. Another thing that we've also done here with the Alice is equip some crit rate gauntlets. Now, this is fine to do in the early game because it can be a little bit tough to hit 100% crit rate on your nukers, right? On your big boy damage dealers. But this account is pretty handily beyond the early game at this point, and what we want to be trying to hit now is crit damage as the main stat on the gauntlets, with gauntlets being the only artifact type that can roll crit damage as the main stat. So let's go ahead and key in the build that I've got pre-planned on the Alice that I set up just a little bit earlier. It's going to be pulling all kinds of gear of other champions that we are using less on the account, and this is what the new stats are going to look like, right? So her defensive stats are actually going to stay quite similar to where they were. Her attack is going to go up by about 350 with these changes. Her speed is going to take a bit of a hit, but only because the boots aren't fully upgraded yet. Once these boots are rank 16, it should be good to rock and roll. She'd actually be slightly higher in speed, I think, than where she is right now. The crit rate comes out at a perfect 100, but most importantly, the crit damage is going to skyrocket by about 90%. Huge gains. Now, she does take a bit of a hit to her accuracy, which is a little bit of an issue. I think that she'd honestly be better off with just an accuracy banner with some speed and attack percent substat rolls on an accuracy banner would also be fine here. But for where this account is right now, this is just a mighty, ridiculous, massive upgrade for the Alice. Sadly, this account does not have free gear removal tokens right now, so I don't want to make the switch with this gear and spend 1.2 million silver of Karai's money right now, so she can do that once she has a free gear removal token. And you notice as well in this guide, I'm not going to spend too much time pointing out gear sets that are really good for damage dealers. I want to give you an idea of the stats that you are aiming for, and then you can make independent decisions on your own what kind of gear sets you want to put on your champs, right? But some obvious ones for Nuka are obviously going to be things like Savage to ignore enemy defense because they're just dealing so much direct damage. That's going to be a great set. Crit damage is also going to be a fine little filler set for just some extra crit damage on a 2-set bonus is very nice. But especially if you're in the early game, do not be overly concerned with equipping a champion up in 4 pieces of Savage gear just to get the ignore defense set bonus. It's not that big of a deal in the early game. Don't worry about it too much. Focus much more on having good stats on the gear. That's by far the most important thing. And even if that means that you just have a random Savage chest plate equipped or something because you really like the stats on that piece of gear and you're not getting the set bonus at all, doesn't matter. Like, seriously, stats are way better than sets in the early game of your account. Well, speaking of damage dealers, if you want to get your hands on a free legendary attack champion in the form of Karat or Fox Hunter, then all you got to do is start a new raid account right now using my beginner promo link down below at the top of the video description box. Simply click on that link, use it to create your new account, and Karato will be waiting for you in your inbox as soon as you are done with the tutorial. And you'll also unlock 3 additional epic reward champions as you level up your account as well, man. Insane beginner promo link. Make sure to get that used as we move on to our next damage dealer type, right? Because not all damage dealer champions in this game are going to be nukers exactly. Alice is a nuker. She just wants to smack stuff. Ninja, great damage dealer, but he's much more of a debuffer and an HP burn activator than an out-and-out nuker. And so how do you want to be building out the likes of a ninja? So honestly, the stat priority list is going to look very similar to the nukers, with the only difference being if you can hit 100% crit rate on one of these kind of HP burn activator type champions like Ninja. If you can hit that 100% crit rate, great, go for some crit damage as well. But it's much more important to have these champions kind of moving fast and having the accuracy stats that they need in order to get the job done than it is to have 100% crit rate. If you can get the 100% crit rate and get them a little bit of crit damage as well, that's more of a bonus with a champion type like Ninja. As such, with this Ninja build right here, I actually don't have that much of a problem with the Ninja running with crit rate gauntlets. To be honest, it's not the worst. The substats are not amazing, right? We've got a little bit of accuracy rolls there, which is lovely, but the rest of these substats not looking so great with a lot of defense and stuff. But the crit rate gauntlets, just to get us up towards the 100% crit rate stat that we're looking for, is fine when it comes to a damage dealer type like Ninja. That said, we are over the crit cap by about 20%, which definitely isn't ideal, and we are also running another flat HP chestplate here on the Ninja as well. And so this is the build that I prepared for the Ninja a little bit earlier on. There's actually a couple of builds here. One of them, this is the build that I like the most, to be honest. It's actually got Ninja in a Swift parry set, where we were able to get some crit damage gauntlets equipped, and so that's lovely. And so what we've been able to do is get his crit rate back down a bit towards 100%, so we're just wasting less stats. We also managed to get his crit damage up to a pretty decent amount, right? Not up to the numbers comparable to Alice. She's still going to hit way harder than Ninja when it comes to just blasting enemies down. But the Ninja, most importantly, is running very, very fast in this build at 210. Honestly, could push it even further. At least, you know, he's running quite fast for a damage dealer style champ, I guess you could say. His accuracy here, though, as you might be able to tell by the name of this build, he needs an accuracy banner with this build, right? He's missing all kinds of accuracy here, and so I wouldn't recommend that Karai you actually use this build until you've got yourself an accuracy banner for the Ninja. And so what you could do is just use this build right here instead, which is just a second build that I went ahead and planned out. He loses a good bit of speed. He loses a good bit of crit damage. His crit rate doesn't quite make it up to 100%, which is all a little bit sad, but he does at least gain a little bit of attack, a little bit of speed, and a whole bunch of crit damage while still maintaining accuracy and stuff like that with this build instead. So this would be the kind of build that I'd be looking to equip up on my Ninja. Next champion type I want to touch on is another attack style champ, but it's what I call the fake attack style champion, right? This could be the likes of a Thalesia, or the champ I'm going to use for this example is going to be the Ruella, right? Where, yeah, they're an attack-based champion and all, but they're not really there to do damage. You know, the Thalesia has a triple hitter, and on each critical hit, she has a chance of stealing some of the target's 10 meter, which is very, very good against certain bosses. And she also brings all kinds of anti-boss and kind of boss killer debuffs as well on her A2. And then on her A3, she brings an increased crit rate buff and 10 meter fill for all allies. You know, she's just not there to be killing stuff, right? You're actually going to be building your Ruella as if she's a debuffer, and that's it. And so how do you want to be building your debuffer style champions? Another priority list, if you please, is going to be accuracy up at the very top. Of course, they need enough accuracy to be actually landing their debuffs. Then speed, they're going to be fast as hell. They're going to be getting off their debuffs way before your nukers ever attack in. Very, very important. Then, even if it's an attack style champion like Ruella, you kind of want to prioritize keeping them alive. HP percent and defense percent are going to do just fine on a champ like Ruella. She's not really there to be killing stuff. Now, Ruella is a little bit of a special case. I am going to be running her in a attack percentage chestplate, by the way. I think it's fine as long as she can stay alive, that you can get away with using an attack percent chestplate. But normally for debuffers, of course, you just want to keep them alive. But Ruella's also a special case because, yeah, she might be a debuffer, but you got to build her with a 100% crit as well, so that she has that chance of stealing enemy 10 meter with the A1. And so this is another one of those champion types where I have no problem at all with equipping the Ruella in crit rate gauntlets. If I just go ahead and close out of the preset manager. Yeah, she's in crit rate gauntlets because once these are fully rolled up to rank 16 on the Ruella, that will get her up to basically exactly 100% crit rate or thereabouts. However, unlike the other attack champions that we've covered so far and the other damage dealer champions, we're not prioritizing crit rate at all. We're just trying to make the Ruella as fast as possible, which we have her at 215 speed right now, which is a pretty good start given that the boots are not fully rolled up on the Ruella. And then, of course, she's also missing accessories as well, where we're going to just be looking for any kind of amulet that's just giving good accuracy, as well as a banner that is giving accuracy and speed as a substat, right? We just want to moving fast as hell with good accuracy. And that's it. That's all your debuffers really need. That and to not die. Just to be clear to Karai, by the way, rebuilding the Ruella in this way and using her while she's at level 40 doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Only be building her out and making that gear swap that I have planned out in the preset manager if we're actually planning on using her right away. A champ that I do suggest that we go ahead and get the rebuild going on is going to be Vorgoth, who's also just another debuffer, right? He's bringing the provoke. However, he's an HP based champion. And so naturally for him, we're just going to lean much more heavily into the survival stats. He's honestly built out pretty well as is. The main changes I've made to his build right here are going to be, well, he's going to take a little bit of a hit to his health, but his defense is going to go up a little bit, and his speed, most importantly, is getting boosted by about 50. So that's pretty good as well, right? He just needs to be a hell of a lot faster to do his job. He's also in a HP banner, which is leaving his accuracy a little bit lacking, right? 190. It's about enough to do stage 20 dungeons, but nothing much more than that. And so an accuracy banner with HP percent and speed substats would be best for the likes of a Vorgoth. But besides that, yeah, all debuffers, you can kind of build them similar-ish. Now that brings me to my favorite champion type, which is just the pure buff champion, right? Champions like Apothecary, who just don't need to place any debuffs at all, and they're not really there to do damage either. They're just sort of there to support your team, provide buffs, maybe provide some heals or whatever, like Doom Priest as well. Doom Priest, for some crazy reason, as we've already covered, has a crazy amount of attack stat going on. Not that much crit, though, to kind of join up with the attack. And then a lot of accuracy, even though she doesn't need accuracy. And then she's in a lifesteal set, which is just like the cherry on the top, you know? Oh my god, man. I laughed so hard at this build. Anyways, yeah. The best thing about champion types like this is cue the stat breakdown. All you need on these champions is as much speed as possible, and then HP and defense. That's it. That's all you need to build a champion type like this, man. And they're so fun to build as a result, you know. So, yeah, needless to say, I'm just switching over a whole lot of gear that's currently sitting on like level 40 champions and stuff. Get it on this Doom Priest as quick as possible and just massively boost their speed. We're talking like a 100 speed increase with this rebuild on the Doom Priest. She's going to become an absolute god with this build, man. It's crazy as hell. Now, she's actually in a resistance banner. That's why her resistance is kind of a little bit unhinged, but the resistance banner has a double speed roll, so I'm like, I think we just leave her in that resistance banner for now. It's not great. It's not ideal. It would much better be defense or HP, but is what it is. And yeah, her defensive stats are just fine. Again, I'd rather that she had a defense or HP banner instead to boost one of these up just a little bit more, but still, this Doom Priest is going to be a god for getting us started into Hydra on this account. And then that brings us to the final champion archetype. I'm going to kind of mix and match here just a little bit. Ally Protector champs and Reviver champions both need to be built with just that extra bump in survivability in mind. They have to stay alive, right? It's super crucial. Ally Protectors like Physics the Unbowed, like, yeah, she requires accuracy and stuff to place her debuffs, right? Decreased speed, she's got some 10-meter decrease on the A1. You gotta worry about accuracy as well on Physics. But she brings ally protection buff, man. That means that a lot of damage that's being spread across your entire team is going to be redirected to the Physics, which is great for keeping your team alive, but you've got to make sure that the Physics is going to be able to take those punches. Now, why I'm bowling in Reviver champions into this category as well is because Reviver champions, they need to survive better than anybody else because they can't revive anybody if they're dead, right? That's kind of common sense. But what that means really is that gear sets that are like regeneration can be pretty good on champion types like this. Guardian sets, immortal sets can be pretty good on champs like this too. We have like no immortal gear on this account, by the way, but it's a really good set if you can get some good immortal pieces with like HP percentage and speed stats and stuff for your revivers and for your ally protectors. Even in the early game, resilience pieces can come in pretty clutch as well for just more HP and defense. And your stat priorities for this champion type, for this champion archetype, are going to be accuracy if they need it. Speed is still going to be very high priority on champions like this, and then HP and defense percentage. And so kind of predictable stuff really, but just with more of a focus really on landing key HP and defensive percentage substat rolls when you're upgrading your gear. So the physics that I have planned out for the build is as follows. And so, yeah, I would have liked to have a couple of pieces of like, immortal pieces on here or something, but the defensive stats on this account, are just lacking just a little bit. That said, the defensive stats on the Physics right here, I think are doing just fine. Oh yeah, for some reason we have an attack ring on the Physics as well, but we have a defense ring on the Kale, which I was kind of confused by. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and switch those over as well. And so, yeah, we've been able to maintain the Physics' HP at about 52k. Her defense is going to get a big old bump of about like 500 or 600 increased defense. Her speed is going to go up quite significantly, and the accuracy is going to be about okay for what the account needs right now. And so that's a few key champions that I would rebuild on this account to give it like a serious kick up the behind to spike its power level when we want to go ahead and do that, when we have a free gear removal token for Miss Karai. And I think that doing a champion breakdown like that and a build breakdown like that is just going to be better for the long term and for a lot of people watching, you know, so that if you're a newer player yourself and you're struggling with building out your champs, now you know what stats to look out for and to prioritize on each of these champion archetypes. Oh god, no. No, I just see that we spent a whole bunch of legendary skill books into Chronicler Adeline. Oh god. Chronicler Adeline has like a little bit of a cult following, man, as a legendary, but I feel like we're much better off spending these skill books into something like the Ninja or maybe even the Attack and getting one of these guys fully booked. These kind of legendaries that really depend on skill books and are fantastic champions in basically all content against almost all bosses in the game. But right now, what we're going to do is go through Karai's roster, and remember, every champion that she has locked on this account, this little padlock right here, she's planning on keeping, and any champion where the lock is not clicked, she's planning on using as food. Let's see what options we're contending with here. So all of the level 60 champions are, of course, going to be locked, and rightfully so. I think that makes sense. Okay, I had a quick browse through. These guys are all locked, and I think rightfully so, until we get down to Sawai. I agree with this one. I don't think that she's very good. We can probably use her as food. Same with Nagoyo. However, Chani, I think that we should hold on to this champion. You might just find yourself wanting as many HP burners on your account as possible, across as many different factions on your account as possible, in case you get stuck against Frostbiter in Cursed City. Oh my god, no. No, we're going to be getting rid of Dak Elhain? No, Dak Elhain is a good damage dealer. She's a very solid nuker. She also brings, I mean, she counters the hell out of all enemies that are trying to place freeze, which is great. It has utility on its own, and she also has an AoE that places decreased speed. I gotta insist that we hold on to the Dak Elhain. I don't think there's any way that we should be chickening a Dak Elhain on this account. Quaggin the Crowned. We don't rate him, huh? I actually quite like Quaggin the Crowned. I'd hold on to him myself, but I'll leave the padlock unclicked on him for the time being. Diabolist, I would highly suggest that we keep, just because she's an increased speed buffer champion and we have her fully booked up as well. So I definitely recommend that we hold on to her. I don't rate Adachi. Frozen Banshee, her time has come and gone on this account. Yeah, we can probably use her as a chicken. We got to be very careful with unpadlocking champions like Fear Gun. She's used as a Mikage fusion champion. I definitely recommend that we keep any Mikage fusion champions just locked away in the Master Vault and just don't touch them. Oh my god, no dude, Mistrider Daithy is up for the oven to be turned into a chicken next. This is one of the best epic attack damage dealers going. Great champion. We should definitely keep him for Sylvan Watchers wave content, Faction Wars, Secret Rooms, that kind of thing. This guy is great. There's a lot of champions that I'm skipping here, by the way. Of course, that you guys aren't seeing, that I agree with, that I think should be turned into chickens. Skull Crush is going to be turned into a chicken. No. I'm more just focusing on the ones that I disagree with and I think we should be holding on to. Skull Crush is a great champion. Okay, good. We're holding on to Tagore, and Dahlia is another one of those crucially important epic champions that we're going to need for the Mikage fusion, so I'll toss her in the vault as well. And then Masamoto can just get out of this town, I think. He's a fine defensive epic. I don't think I'd actually chicken him for the time being, just because we're very limited on options in Faction Wars. He does bring increased defense, he does bring a decreased attack on an AoE. I think he'd be fine to just level up to 40 or 50 on this account and using wave content for a little while on Cherokee. Don't have to use books in him or anything if we don't want to, but okay. Account takeover complete. I hope that this helped you out, Karai, with some direction on your account and for rebuilding your champions in the future, and I hope that it helped out some of you guys watching as well. So thanks for stopping by. If you're looking to get involved in this account takeover series yourself, then all you're going to do is join my Discord server, which is down below in the description box. Join that server and make a post in the account takeover submissions channel, and there's about a 1 in 8, 1 in 9 chance or something that I'll get to take overing your account here on this YouTube channel. I can't get to everybody, but I do my best, and I do try to prioritize accounts that have used my beginner promo link to sign up, because frankly, it's the least I can do, right? Is give you an account takeover. Just thank you for doing that, man. You can find that beginner promo link down below at the top of the video description box, man. Use it to create a new account, get yourself off to an incredible start on that new account, and get yourself a priority pass to get involved in this account takeover series. Or, well, as close as to a priority pass at least. Enjoy the rest of your nights, and I'm going to catch all of you all just a tad bit later, man.